Hello everyone and welcome to this month's Pinterest. This month we are going to be doing ice dyed scarves. And I know for some of you that have been able to come to some of the previous Pinterest the last few months, we've switched up the format a little bit. We went from having to go to Zoom to now we're going to be doing YouTube videos. This way, if you miss anything that we've been doing with the craft, you can go back and view it again. Not only that, but with this kind of filming, we're also able to do it so that you can actually see the craft while we're making it versus seeing mostly me and then little bits of the craft while we're going through. And as wonderful as my face is, I know you guys want to see the craft. So, for this month, we are doing ice dyed scarves. I'm going to go through a few tips and tricks first, and then we'll go ahead and go into the actual video of the craft. Very first tip is you're going to want to wash your scarf before you do this. If you don't, the packing residue on it is going to prevent your scarf from absorbing any of the dye. Second tip is you're going to want to hand wash these scarves, especially after you use the dye. Beforehand, you can probably machine wash it. I'm not 100% sure on that because I did hand wash it, but the way the fabric feels, probably before the dye you'd be okay. After the dye, you're going to want to make sure you hand wash it. If you don't, it's probably going to take a lot of the dye with it. And then the final tip for you is if you don't want it to look all wrinkly, you're going to want to iron it. Otherwise, because it is air drying, it is going to have kind of a little wrinkly look to it, as you can see there. And as I was holding that up, this is a finished product of one of the scarves. You'll notice it is a square scarf, so if you're wearing it around your neck, it's going to be one of those shorter scarves that you can just, tie once or twice with a nice little, just right there. Otherwise, it is actually the perfect length for a face covering that you can wear out to the stores, except it's going to smell really good, and it's going to be nice and colorful and fun. So up next is going to be the video of how to do it. You're going to need your scarf, your dye, at least 4 to 5 cups of ice, and then you're going to want either a small tub or your bathtub to do this in, or if you're doing it outside, you can use a drying rack. I'm going to give you a heads up, if you do it on a drying rack and you do it outside, it's much quicker. However, it comes out a little bit lighter. This is the one that we did outside on the drying rack, whereas this one I just let it sit in a bin, and you can see the difference. The colors are much brighter on this one. So those are the tips and tricks. Now we're going to show you how to actually make it, and then you'll make your own, and hopefully you will send us a picture. If you do, you'll send it to the email address reference@shorewood-troy-library.org, and we hope you guys have fun. Thanks. I have got a bag of ice. You're going to need probably at least 4 to 5 cups of ice to do this. I also have, these are Skittles brand. Yours might be a little bit different. Each of the kits that we're giving you guys is going to vary a little bit, but all they have to be is some sort of dyed mixed drink packet. It's going to be powdery. And then we also have our scarf. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out my first scarf. I also have a drying rack here. You're either going to want to use one of these, or you're going to want to place it in some kind of tub. Wherever you're going to be working on this project, the ice is going to melt through, and it's also going to have the dyes from the powder melting through as well. So you're going to want to make sure that you do this either outdoors or in a sink or a tub, someplace that you're not going to ruin whatever is underneath. So I'm going to just lay down my scarf there. I'm going to open up the ice, and we're just going to spread this all over the scarf. A little cold. You're going to want to make sure that you cover as much of the scarf as you can. What's going to happen is with the ice, as it melts, it's going to distribute those colors from the dye, and that is what's going to make our fun tie-dye pattern. So we want to make sure that the ice is everywhere. This is why I said you're probably going to want at least 4 to 5 cups of ice. We're going to get a nice layer going here. Almost good enough. Now my drying rack isn't the full size of the scarf, so my ends are probably going to be kind of more white. That's okay with me. I'm good with my color being more in the middle and then having like that white border outside. If you don't want that, you're going to want to make sure that your ice is completely from front to back all over that scarf. So now I'm going to get a couple packets of our colors. I think I'm going to use green and orange and red. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. Okay, so I have my packets open, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and kind of get creative now. This is where you're going to decide what you want to do for your design. So I'm going to start by sprinkling some of the orange. We're just going to do kind of a back and forth swirl. And you can already see the color is connecting with the ice. And as the ice melts, that is what is going to sink into the fabric and dye it for us. So now that we've got that, I'm going to do some spots of green. Get some there, a little bit there, over here, maybe over here. Little everywhere there. Woo! That came out quick. If you want a specific design and you don't want to just kind of let the colors bleed together, that's going to be a little trickier. That's going to be something that you'll want to play around with yourself. Once we see how this one turns out, I can give you guys a few pointers at the end of the video on how to do that. And with the red, I'm also just kind of throwing this in there basically where I don't have a lot of color. Getting some there, there. Ooh. All right. So now that I have all of my colors out, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let this sit in the sun. I decided to do mine outside. If you do it inside, it's gonna work just as well. It just might take longer because you don't have that extra heat from the sun or the outdoors. So we're gonna let this sit for a while and we'll come back to it once the ice is all melted, and I'll tell you how to wrap up doing the scarf. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you enjoy your scarf. It does take a few hours if it's outside for it to absorb. If you're doing it indoors, I would leave it overnight, and then you're going to want your scarf to dry completely before you do wash it at all. If you don't let it dry, the dyes are going to come right out. So hopefully you guys had a lot of fun. Next month we are going to be doing a variety of paper flowers. I'm really looking forward to that one. And then the month after that we're going to be doing a fall planter. So keep an eye out on programs. Be sure to register for those if you're interested. And send us your pictures of your scarves. We want to see how they came out. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.